Have you ever stopped and thought about how much time we spend on things that don't truly matter? Think about it. Years pass by, and so much of our energy goes into keeping up appearances, worrying about what others think, or holding on to things that don't really add value to our lives. Then suddenly, we hit a point where we realize that life has become cluttered, not just with stuff, but with worries, expectations, and emotional baggage that weigh us down. But what if I told you that after a certain age, many of these burdens start to lose their grip? Imagine the freedom of stepping into a new chapter of life where you can choose to let go, to embrace what truly brings you joy and peace. Today, we're going to explore 9 things that no longer make sense after turning 61. Habits, expectations, and pressures that many people still cling to, but which actually keep us from living freely and fully. But don't be mistaken. This message isn't just for those who are already there. It's for anyone who's ready to live more intentionally, to stop wasting time on what doesn't matter, and to focus on what does. Because why wait? Why not start now? So, if you're someone who's ready to shed the unnecessary, whether you're 61 or 31, I encourage you to listen closely. Each of these reflections is a step towards a lighter, simpler, and more joyful way of living. And if you find this journey valuable, make sure to subscribe to our channel and join our community of people committed to living more authentically, because we're in this together. Now, let's dive into what it truly means to let go of what no longer serves us and discover a life that's worth celebrating. Number 1. The accumulation of material possessions. Throughout much of life, we associate happiness and success with the things we own. We spend years accumulating items, furniture, clothes, gadgets, souvenirs, believing that each object is a symbol of achievement, stability, or comfort. But as time passes, these things can become more of a burden than a source of joy. They begin to fill not only our homes but also our minds. Imagine walking through a house that's cluttered with possessions that no longer serve a purpose. Each item seems to carry a piece of the past, a reminder of a chapter that has long since ended. And yet, we hold on, sometimes because of the memories attached, and sometimes simply out of habit. The truth is, there's a kind of freedom that comes with letting go. With each object we release, we reclaim a small piece of ourselves. It's as if by clearing out the physical space, we're also making room for mental clarity, for new experiences, and for a lighter way of living. One woman shared how she used to own over 50 pairs of shoes, convinced that she needed them to feel stylish and complete. But as she aged, she began to see these shoes as a symbol of a version of herself that no longer fit. Slowly, she donated or gave away the pairs that no longer resonated with who she was. The result? A sense of lightness she hadn't felt in years, as if by letting go of those shoes, she was also letting go of the expectations and pressures that once dictated her choices. It's not about giving up everything or living in deprivation. It's about embracing the idea that less can indeed be more. When we strip away the excess, we uncover what truly matters, the people, experiences, and moments that fill our hearts, not just our shelves. This shift in perspective is transformative. By letting go of what no longer serves us, we create space for a more meaningful, intentional life. The satisfaction isn't in owning more, but in being content with what we have. Number 2. Letting go of excessive concern about others' opinions. From a young age, we're taught to value and consider the opinions of others. It starts with parents, teachers, and friends, and as we grow up, those voices don't go away. They only become louder. We spend a significant part of our lives trying to live up to the expectations placed upon us, both by others and by society at large. We begin to seek approval for our choices, for the way we dress, the careers we pursue, and even the lifestyle we lead. Over time, this search for validation can become a burden that weighs us down and prevents us from living authentically. Imagine carrying around a backpack filled with stones, each one representing someone else's opinion about who you should be and how you should live. It's heavy, it's exhausting, and worst of all, it's unnecessary. Many of us don't realize that this weight is something we can choose to put down. We continue carrying it, believing that meeting the expectations of others will lead to happiness. But the truth is, living under the constant influence of others' opinions can distance us from our own needs and desires, making it almost impossible to find genuine joy and fulfillment. The freedom that comes when we stop seeking validation is transformative. It's like shedding layers that we didn't even know were there, and for the first time, feeling the fresh air on our true self. When we decide to live according to our own values, regardless of how it may look to others, we experience a sense of liberation that brings inner peace and confidence. It's not about disregarding everyone's input, but about filtering out what truly serves us and letting go of the rest. Take, for example, the story of a woman named Carol. For decades, Carol dedicated her life to meeting her family's expectations. She followed the path they laid out for her, studied what they thought was best, and even married the person they approved of. Carol was successful in her career and respected in her community, but deep down she always felt a sense of emptiness. She found herself constantly asking, "What do I really want?" It wasn't until her mid-60s that she finally had the courage to step back and re-evaluate her life. One day, Carol decided she would start making decisions solely based on her own desires. She left behind a job that didn't bring her joy, moved to a smaller town where she felt more connected to nature, and even took up pottery, a hobby she had long wanted to explore but never dared to try. Her family was shocked at first, but Carol felt a newfound sense of freedom. For the first time, she wasn't living to please anyone else. The weight of trying to conform lifted, and she discovered a side of herself that had been buried for years. Carol's transformation is a reminder that it's never too late to let go of the opinions that hold us back. The only approval we truly need is our own. By stepping into the life that feels right for us, whether that means making small changes or big leaps, we start to live authentically. The peace and joy that follow are the true rewards of choosing ourselves over others' expectations. Number 3. Preoccupation with physical appearance. We live in a world obsessed with youth and beauty. Advertisements and social media bombard us with images of flawless skin, sculpted bodies, and the promise of eternal youth. It's no wonder we become fixated on maintaining a certain look. But as the years pass, we start to see beauty differently. The lines on our face tell stories of laughter, worry, and wisdom. Each grey hair marks the passage of time, the experience is lived. Trying to erase these signs of aging is like erasing parts of our history. What if instead we embraced them? After a lifetime of striving to look a certain way, letting go of that struggle can be liberating. We realize that beauty lies not in perfection, but in authenticity. Think of the older faces you've admired. Each wrinkle is a testament to resilience, to survival. As we grow older, we shift from trying to meet standards of appearance to feeling comfortable in our own skin. This acceptance is powerful. It's not about giving up. It's about redefining what it means to feel beautiful. When we look at ourselves and see the marks of a life well lived, there's a peace that no cream, no procedure can provide. True beauty radiates from confidence and contentment. It's being proud of who you are, exactly as you are. When we stop battling the signs of aging, we reclaim our energy, our peace, and our time. We see ourselves not as past our prime, but as beautifully evolving, growing more vibrant with each passing year. Embracing your appearance as it is doesn't mean neglecting yourself. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and acceptance that you'd offer to a dear friend. True beauty isn't in the absence of wrinkles or grey hair. It's in the presence of self-love. Number 4. Habits that no longer bring joy. We are creatures of habit, and routines provide a sense of stability. But sometimes the habits that once served us begin to lose their meaning. We find ourselves sticking to routines out of habit, not out of joy. There's comfort in familiarity, but there's also freedom in change. What if, instead of going through the motions, we took a step back and asked, does this still fulfill me? If the answer is no, perhaps it's time to let it go. This doesn't mean abandoning all structure, but rather refining our daily lives to make space for new passions, new joys. One man shared that, after decades of starting his mornings with a strict exercise routine, he realized that what he truly craved was a slow walk in nature. By allowing himself to change, he found a new sense of peace and contentment. This is the beauty of aging. We have the wisdom to know ourselves better, to trust our instincts, and to make choices that honor who we are today, not who we were years ago. Habits should serve us, not the other way around. Sometimes the habits we hold on to out of comfort are the very things that hold us back. It takes courage to evaluate what's no longer bringing joy and to make room for new practices that reflect our current desires and needs. By letting go of outdated routines, we open the door to a life that's more aligned with who we are now, a life that's more vibrant, more engaging, and more true to our essence. Number 5. Toxic relationships. Relationships shape our lives profoundly, influencing how we see ourselves and the world around us. But not every relationship is a healthy one. Over time, we may find ourselves entangled in connections that drain our energy, diminish our self-worth, or keep us in a constant state of negativity. These dynamics are often hard to recognize, especially when they've been part of our lives for years. We might justify them out of loyalty, fear of loneliness, or a sense of obligation. But at some point we need to ask, does this relationship add to my life, or does it take away from it? The process of letting go of a toxic relationship is never easy. It might mean distancing ourselves from a long-time friend, setting boundaries with a family member, or even walking away from a romantic partner who no longer supports our well-being. But freeing ourselves from these connections isn't about giving up on people. It's about choosing peace. It's about protecting our mental and emotional health. A woman once shared that after decades of maintaining a friendship with someone who constantly belittled her, she decided to finally say goodbye. It was painful at first, but over time she noticed a lightness, a sense of empowerment she hadn't felt in years. When we release toxic relationships, we make space for healthier, more supportive ones. We send a message to ourselves that we deserve kindness, respect, and love. It's not selfish, it's self-care. And the beautiful thing is, by prioritizing our own well-being, we create a ripple effect that can encourage others to do the same. We begin to attract people who see us, value us, and inspire us to grow. So, while letting go is difficult, it's also a profound act of self-respect. We honor ourselves by choosing connections that uplift and enrich our lives. Number 6. Comparisons with others. From the moment we start school, we're taught to measure ourselves against others. Whose grades are better? Who's more successful? This habit often continues well into adulthood, shaping our choices and perceptions of success. We look around and see people who seem to have achieved more, earned more, or experienced more. The constant comparisons become a source of dissatisfaction and even envy. But as we age, we start to see through this illusion. Everyone's journey is unique, shaped by circumstances, desires, and challenges that are often invisible to us. What if we could let go of the need to compare? Imagine looking at someone else's achievements and feeling genuinely happy for them without it making us question our own path. There's a profound peace that comes with realizing that there is no universal measure of success or happiness. Each of us has our own timeline, our own milestones. One man shared that he spent most of his career feeling envious of a colleague who seemed to climb the corporate ladder faster. But after retiring, he looked back and realized that he had lived a life full of rich experiences, travel, family, and personal growth that the colleague, focused solely on career, had missed out on. The comparisons had blinded him to his own unique successes. By letting go of this habit, he was finally able to appreciate his life for what it was, not for what it wasn't. When we release the need to measure up to others, we open ourselves up to gratitude, contentment, and a deeper sense of self-worth. We start seeing our own journey as something to be cherished, not judged. And in doing so, we free ourselves to live more fully, more joyfully, and more authentically. Number 7. Unattainable or irrelevant goals. As we move through life, we set goals, some big, some small, with the hope that achieving them will bring us happiness and a sense of accomplishment. But sometimes these goals lose their relevance. Maybe they were set based on who we were years ago, or maybe they were never really ours to begin with. Society, family, and even our younger selves may have influenced us to chase dreams that no longer resonate with who we are today. It takes courage to look at a long-held goal and say, "This no longer fits." Imagine a woman who spent decades pursuing a career that she thought would make her parents proud. As she neared retirement, she realized that her true passion was gardening, something she had always dismissed as just a hobby. When she finally let go of the need to achieve professional accolades, she found a new sense of purpose and joy in cultivating a garden that became her sanctuary. Letting go of old goals doesn't mean we've failed. It means we're wise enough to change direction. The challenge is in recognizing when a goal no longer serves us. It's understanding that success is not about relentlessly pushing forward, but knowing when to step back, reassess, and set new intentions that reflect our current values and desires. By releasing unattainable or irrelevant goals, we free ourselves to pursue dreams that align with who we are now. It's not about achieving more, it's about achieving meaningfully. This shift allows us to live with more peace, contentment, and purpose, knowing that we are being true to ourselves every step of the way. Number 8. Guilt for prioritizing one's happiness. For so much of our lives, we're taught to put others first, whether it's caring for family, fulfilling obligations at work, or simply meeting the expectations of those around us. Prioritizing ourselves feels selfish, even wrong. The idea of putting our own happiness at the forefront is often accompanied by a wave of guilt. But what if we reframed it? What if we saw self-prioritization not as selfishness, but as self-respect? What if we understood that by taking care of our own needs and desires, we're actually better equipped to support and uplift those around us? Imagine a man who spent years sacrificing his personal dreams to ensure his children had everything they needed. When they were grown and self-sufficient, he found himself at a crossroads. Should he continue putting others' needs above his own, or finally pursue his long-held desire to write a book? It felt selfish, almost indulgent, to dedicate time to something that was purely for him. But when he finally did, the joy and fulfillment it brought him ended up enriching his relationships. He was happier, more engaged, and more present with his family, because he had allowed himself to honor his own dreams. The guilt we feel when choosing ourselves is a product of outdated beliefs. It's a sign that we've been taught to place our value in serving others rather than in being whole ourselves. But the truth is, when we are happy, fulfilled, and at peace, we bring our best selves to those around us. Choosing our happiness doesn't take away from others, it enhances what we can give. So, release the guilt, choose joy, and remember that by honoring your own needs, you're setting a powerful example for those around you to do the same. Number 9. Unnecessary social obligations. For many years we say yes to countless invitations, attend gatherings out of politeness, and maintain connections that don't genuinely nurture us. We go through the motions, driven by a sense of duty, by the belief that it's simply the right thing to do. But with age comes the understanding that time is our most precious asset. Every hour spent at an event that drains us is an hour we could have spent doing something meaningful, something joyful. Imagine the relief of finally being able to say no without guilt, the freedom to prioritize only those relationships and activities that truly add value to our lives. It's not about isolating ourselves or cutting ties with everyone. It's about choosing where to invest our energy, being present where we truly want to be, rather than where we feel we should be. Picture walking into a room filled with people you genuinely want to connect with, instead of half-heartedly showing up out of obligation. Each moment becomes more vibrant, more sincere. And the irony is, when we engage in fewer but more meaningful interactions, we often leave feeling more fulfilled and connected than ever. By redefining what social life means to us, we transform it from an obligation into a source of joy and support. As we reflect on these lessons, it becomes clear that the most precious gift we can give ourselves is the freedom to live authentically, to let go of what no longer serves us, and to focus on what truly brings joy and meaning. It's about choosing lightness, choosing simplicity, choosing happiness, because at the end of the day, life is too short to be lived any other way. Think of it as a process of rediscovery, peeling back the layers to reveal who you really are underneath it all. It's about recognizing that happiness isn't found in striving for more, but in appreciating what already is. This is your chance to live without the weight of unnecessary worries, to choose joy over judgment, and to find peace in simplicity. Because every moment we let go of something that doesn't align with our true self, we make room for something beautiful to take its place. So if you're inspired by these reflections, if you want to continue this journey of living more authentically, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, share your thoughts and stories in the comments below, and let's continue supporting each other in finding the freedom to live boldly, no matter our age. Remember, life after 61 isn't about winding down. It's about stepping up, reclaiming your choices, and deciding what truly deserves your time and energy. Letting go isn't just about removing what's unnecessary, it's about discovering what's essential and embracing it with your whole heart. Thank you for joining us today, and may each day be filled with moments of lightness, joy, and truth. Until next time, keep living with intention, keep embracing who you are, and keep choosing happiness.